Hey everybody, hope you guys are doing well. So crazy stuff happened over the past few days. Tom Alexanderich, this Israeli official, was brought in Nevada. He was caught during a child sexting, and ultimately, very quickly after being detained, he fled to Israel. No mainstream media, by the way, reported on this. Not one mainstream media. It ended up being majorly reported initially on an article written in The Guardian. And aside from that, CNN, Fox, nothing whatsoever, which in of itself is shocking to say the least. So because of all of the public outlash that this got on social media, because luckily on social media people did start hearing about it, the government eventually was forced to respond, and this is what they posted on X later today. Take a look at this. U.S. State Department Near East Affairs. The Department of State is aware that Tom Alexanderich, an Israeli citizen, was arrested in Las Vegas and given a court date for charges related to soliciting sex electronically from a minor. He did not claim diplomatic immunity and was released by a state judge pending a court date. Any claims that the U.S. government intervened are false. There's also a community note on this post that says this post fails to mention that Tom Alexanderich fled to Israel after being released on bail, which deserves both a response and a community note. So this is the thing. that The fact that no mainstream media headline reported on this is unsurprising, but pretty annoying. And I think this is just going to continue to add to the larger disdain of towards Israel, the larger feeling that Israel just basically has a grip on our media. Israel controls everything. Not one mainstream media headline deciding to report on this, probably because higher ups don't want people to know about this. And it didn't even elicit a government response until so many people were ticked off on social media. So many normal citizens were like, what's going on? Not one US politician speaking out about this. Literally not one, except for, guess who? Of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I've began loving her recently because she's the only one that's courageous enough to stand up against children being children being abused. Like whoever in our life could whenever in our lives could we have expected this to just become, for our government not even to touch on this sort of stuff. But anyways, let me pull up what she said in a post. Here she is. Why did our government release a child sex predator from Israel who works directly under the Prime Minister of Israel? And now Netanyahu is lying and completely denying it. Why isn't Mark Levine pitching a hissy fit over this? And why isn't Laura Loomer rage posting about this and claiming she broke the story? Shout out to the Information Liberation for covering this story. Thanks, Cosmos. Just reading some of the comments here, guys. So yeah, of course they didn't. Of course, Mark Levine, whatever, didn't want to touch this story because the guy's an Israeli official. Hence the same reason that Fox News, CNN, nobody else wanted to touch this story. Any Zionist really didn't want to touch this story. This includes Aaron Parnas on TikTok, actually, the little TikToker. So this is the thing. It's just, it's unsurprising, but Jesus Christ, we have what it tells you, what everybody should really take out of this is that the US government is willing to allow American children to be abused if it means doing so protects Israel. Does everybody get that? Our US government is willing to allow American children to be abused and mistreated if it means protecting the interests of Israel. This is where we've come as a nation. And people still say, I stand with Israel. Really? Really? After all of this? Like, it just like every single day, I think I can't be more nauseous towards this relationship between Israel and America. And then something happens that just like, nope, I was wrong. There is more to it. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. Let me just quickly read some of the comments here. And I do have some more I wanted to show you guys as well. Down here in Texas, most people can't point out on a map where Israel is located, but our reps visit often. Absolutely, both Democrats and Republicans, unfortunately. So this is actually one of the reporters on Breaking Point, and he posted this a little bit ago. I've obtained documents pertaining to the arrest of Israeli government official from Tom Alexanderich, caught up in a recent Las Vegas undercover sting. Key findings: Alexandrovich allegedly solicited what he believed to be a 15-year-old girl for, you know what, told police he met with the FBI in Vegas, had future meetings with the NSA, and immediately identified himself as an employee of the Israeli government. Alexandrovich repeatedly emphasized that he needed to speak with someone about his upcoming flight to Israel and to speak to his family in the Israeli embassy. This calls into question claims from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office that they were not aware that Alexandrovich was arrested when initially contacted. The document includes much more detail on how Alexandrovich was caught up. Oh, so this is what I wanted to share. So, the independent journalist, what's his name, Sean King, he was just basically here's his profile, Sean King on X, who's kind of just basically ranting about this, or actually, I don't want to say ranting. He was doing a huge deep dive on this on social media over the past couple days. He put together an article on this. He reached out to law enforcement that was in Nevada, and he had a lot of viral posts going on this, like millions and millions of views. And he made the claim that the Trump administration actually helped this guy flee. They actually helped him flee. And all of his posts today, he woke up today. I'm gonna scroll through some of his Twitter with you guys. He woke up today and he said, in the middle of the night, Elon Musk, he really means X, deleted every single tweet I've made about the Israeli pedophile Tom Alexanderich that was arrested in Las Vegas for sex crimes. All of them, every retweet, every link to my article is gone. And basically, what Sean did is he put together a huge, he wrote together an article and just started showing evidence after evidence, stating that, I've contacted police officers and they said that it was actually the Trump administration that came in and saw and told them to release him. So if this wasn't actually the case and he's lying, then typically the way you deal with lies is you usually just stick a community note on that thing and say, here's all the sources proving that's not true. But instead, the government decided to delete his post. First off, I thought we have freedom of speech. Since when is the government going in and asking online platforms to have their posts deleted? So that was pretty shocking. Let's see what else he said. Hundreds of my tweets about Tom Alexanderich are gone. Every response from Grok about my articles was also deleted. Grok, why were my tweets and your tweets about Tom deleted? And Grok responded, and he took a screenshot of this right here. I apologize for any inconvenience, Sean. As Grok, I don't control X's moderation. Based on my analysis of public record, your prior tweets and my responses about Tom Artyom Alexandrovich appear removed, possibly due to X's policies on sensitive content. The arrest is confirmed by Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and multiple sources. So clearly somebody deleted them. Most likely it's somebody that was informed to delete them. And the government, of course, just doesn't actually, the government, of course, is lying. That's nothing surprising. What is kind of annoying, though, is what this really reminded me of is just a couple. I don't know if you guys remember, what was it? Oh, remember when people started like just going crazy on social media because we ended up finding out that they were trying to pass legislation, and they still have it written down on paper that states and cities can't receive FEMA funding for natural disasters if they decide to boycott Israeli companies, and everybody freaked out. The reason I'm bringing that up now is because at the time, the U.S. State Department actually was it the U.S. State Department or the Department of Homeland Security? They made a post addressing that after all of the backlash, and they lied in the posts. And they're like, actually, we didn't change any laws. We're just following the current laws, and the current laws state that if you boycott Israel, then that if you boycott Israel, you won't receive FEMA funding. And they just blatantly lied. And not only did they blatantly lie, but in the post itself, they do it in such a condescending way. And I remember in the post, and I wish I had it pulled up. And they were like, and nobody deserves a penny of funding if you partake in racial discrimination. Which is basically what they're saying is no state or city deserves a penny of funding if they discriminate against a foreign country. And so it's like the way they're willing to not only lie, but then to gaslight you while they lie. That's what ticks me off more than anything about this. It's just like they play us for stupid. Either they play us for stupid, or they actually just genuinely don't care anymore, and they just want to put it out into the open. like, hey, you know what, we put Israel first, like nothing you can do about it at this point. So let's go through some of the comments here. This is why we can't let our government divide us, Zionists. Anyways, tell me more about this pedo. Well, so Tom Alexanderich is an Israeli cybersecurity official, and he was coming in. He was coming into the United States on a conference, some sort of a conference related to, I don't know if it was a cybersecurity conference or what. And he was basically engaged. He was engaging in what he thought was conversation with a 15-year-old girl, and it was actually a sting operation, which ended up getting him convicted, which ended up getting him arrested. So I want to go through some more of the tweets that Sean King wrote, because some of them are pretty shocking. Let's see. Here it is. My lawyers were told that my tweets about the Israeli pedophile was arrested for sex crimes in Vegas were all removed after a government demand. They were not told which government. Has this ever been done before? I got zero notice, explanation, nothing. Here he also shares some documents. What are these? Oh, I think these are just related to the court case. After the state of Israel lied to the press about their cyber warfare chief being arrested for child crimes and said he was never arrested, we published his literal charging documents. Yeah, Sean King was really just tweeting heavily on this stuff. Here's my full article. The tweet that Elon Musk deleted, he really, again, means X, about this article, and has been retweeted nearly 10,000 times and seen nearly 10 million times. I didn't realize it actually got that much public attention. So no wonder they wanted that taken down as quickly as possible. So some pretty crazy stuff. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. Epstein was involved in the Iran-Contra affair. I'm just reading through some of the comments for you guys. DT is bought and paid for. Absolutely. He's been bought and paid for. And now it's more evident than ever. Also pretty interesting, and I'll have to show it another day. The Nevada attorney, actually, she's an Israeli American that's been overseeing this whole case. And I'm starting to see some tweets recently, like talking about that. Apparently, she was involved. I don't know how it worked, whether the Trump administration reached out to some authorities in Nevada and how all of that transpired, and all the details of that. But what we do know is that there was definitely larger federal government influence in all of this. And it's just at this point, they're playing us for stupid. The lack of trust in the federal government, which is never going to be repaired, by the way, never, absolutely never, until you have politicians that come out and say the truth about Israel's stranglehold in America, not just one or two. Like we have Marjorie Taylor Greene here, we have Thomas Massey there. AOC, she's tried a little, like she's done some stuff as well. She really hasn't called it out to the extent of just how deep it is. Until we have it more mainstream, and until politicians don't accept AIPAC money, because taking AIPAC money doesn't get you voted. That's the thing. And until we reach that point, and I'm hoping it happens sooner rather than later, but we're still at the point now where politicians can run, and they can run and accept AIPAC money, and they'll still get elected. So they're going to keep doing it. So until that's severed, and until politicians realize, if I support Israel, I'm not going to get elected, then they're going to keep doing it. So that's something that us as citizens, we have to implement. But it's really tough to do that when every single AIPAC bought out politician ends up looking like an angel in all of the mainstream media headlines. And every single AIPAC bought politician gets all of the amazing press in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, in CNN, and Fox. It doesn't matter which wing of the bird you're on. If you're bought out by Israel, the press is going to love you. Even though if you're bought out by Israel, you're doing the things that are contrary to what's actually going to benefit this country. So thank God we have social media, but with the level of censorship, it's so difficult, especially next month when TikTok is going to be implementing their new hate guidelines. And guess what? The new hate speech manager of TikTok is a former IDF soldier and, quote, proud Zionist. This is coming from a Jerusalem Post article. Immediately after this new hate speech manager of TikTok came in, they started switching up the guidelines now. They call it hate speech if you call Israel a T state, what have you. What I'm saying is that if you're a bought out politician, it has to be shown that you won't get voted in. And it's really difficult to do that when, if you are a bought out politician, you're going to get the best framing, and they're going to make you look so good. So unless the only thing we really have at our disposal as citizens is social media, and hoping that, we start to support more smaller news agencies and smaller tabloids and smaller, unbought out media, really America first media in every true sense of the word. But it's so hard to do when there's millions and millions of Americans, and there's such a fight for everybody's attention. So it's so much easier to just go to the mainstream. But I'm starting to see that change. I'm going to go through the questions and the comments one final time. Feel free to toss in a question. And if you could subscribe, guys, and support my channel, that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. See here and see what's going on Instagram. Uh, FA pack. Absolutely, honestly. So, anyways, and Rand Think Tank was founded on the same day as Israel. Yeah, Rand Think Tank. I'm gonna have to make a whole other video on it. That's actually pretty crazy. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also on Rumble and Twitch and all of these different platforms right over here. Show me some love on them. I started up some new ones, Twitch and Rumble. I'm new to it too. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.